It was supposed to be just another wedding weekend. My best friend marrying the love of his life. Laughter spilling through the hall, glasses clinking, and promises floating in the air. I was happy for him, truly. But that night, something changed. When his sister looked at me across the room, it wasn't just a glance. It was a quiet kind of ache. She was older, graceful, the kind of woman who carried beauty like a burden. And in her eyes, I saw something I'd never seen before. A loneliness so familiar, it felt like my own reflection. When she whispered that she was tired of belonging to no one, I realized this night wouldn't fade like the others. It was the beginning of something I wasn't ready for, and something I'll never forget. My name is Ethan Cole. I'm 26 years old, and this is the story of the night that changed everything. If you've ever loved someone you couldn't have, share this story with them. I'd known Tyler Matthews since freshman year at Stanford. He wasn't just a friend, he was the brother I never had. 8 years of friendship had taken us through long nights, heartbreaks, road trips, and late-night conversations that didn't end until sunrise. When he asked me to be his best man, I didn't hesitate. The wedding was held at Cypress Bay Resort, perched on the cliffs of coastal California. The Pacific stretched endlessly below, waves whispering secrets no one else could hear. Fairy lights were strung across the terrace, candles flickered in glass jars, and the scent of salt and roses mingled in the evening air. The setting was picture perfect, yet I felt an unfamiliar tension in my chest. A few days before the wedding, I arrived early to help with preparations. The drive down the winding coastal highway was surreal. Fog rolling off the ocean, sunlight breaking through clouds, waves crashing dramatically below. I checked into my room at the resort and unpacked quickly, but my mind kept wandering to Amber. I had met her a few times at family events over the years, always graceful, always charming. But this weekend, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to shift. Friday evening arrived with the rehearsal dinner. The resort's grand hall had been transformed into an elegant space with wooden beams, soft lighting, and long tables adorned with flowers. Guests were arriving, mingling, laughing, and sharing stories. And there she was, Amber Matthews, standing near the corner, a glass of wine in her hand, looking every bit the picture of composure and elegance. But unlike the others, she seemed slightly distant, as if carrying an invisible weight. When our eyes met across the room, she smiled politely. "Ethan," she said, her voice calm yet edged with fatigue. "Still surviving best man duties, huh?" I grinned, trying my best. "You look incredible, Amber." She laughed lightly, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Big weekend for the family," she said softly. "You know how weddings are, full of joy and chaos, with a side of quiet panic." "I take it you're having one of those quiet panics?" I asked. "Maybe," she murmured. "Weddings make you think about your own life, about where you are, and where you thought you'd be." Before I could respond, Tyler called me over for photos, but her words lingered in my mind. There was a pull in them, something I couldn't name. After the rehearsal, we moved outside to the terrace, where the ocean air was crisp and filled with the scent of salt and flowers. Amber had stepped out for a moment, and I followed, keeping a respectful distance. She leaned on the railing, staring out at the Pacific, waves crashing rhythmically below. "I shouldn't be standing here," she murmured without turning. "It's your best friend's wedding. You should be celebrating, not listening to me brood." "Your family," I said softly. "Family listens when someone needs to speak." She laughed faintly, a little bitter, but warm. "You're kind, Ethan. Too kind." "Maybe I just see what others don't," I said. Her gaze fell to the water. "Do you really?" "I do," I replied. A silence fell between us, heavy but comforting, like the calm before a storm. For the first time, I noticed the small details. The way her hair caught the moonlight, the subtle way she exhaled when she thought no one was looking, the quiet strength beneath the weariness. And for reasons I couldn't explain, my chest tightened. The next morning, the wedding preparations were a whirlwind. Tyler was nervous, his fiancée radiant, the family bustling. Amid the chaos, I caught glimpses of Amber, helping arrange flowers, offering a reassuring word here, a polite smile there. She was everywhere, yet somehow separate, like a figure both in the room and apart from it. During the ceremony, the sun broke through the clouds, casting golden light on the cliffs. Tyler and Emma exchanged vows, voices trembling with emotion. Guests wiped tears, cameras clicked, and I felt a swell of happiness for him. Yet my gaze kept drifting to Amber. She was seated at the front, composed but distant, hands folded neatly, eyes occasionally glimmering with unshed emotion. After the ceremony, the reception began in full swing. Laughter, music, and the clinking of glasses filled the hall. Tyler leaned toward me. "Ethan, could you do me a favor?" "Sure," I said. "Amber's been alone most of the night. Ask her to dance. I'm about to go thank people with Emma." I nodded, swallowed the tension in my chest, and walked toward her. She was near the windows, moonlight outlining her hair, the ocean stretching endlessly beyond. "Your brother sent me to rescue you," I said, attempting a smile. She turned, eyes meeting mine. "Did he now? Always the protective little brother. Would you like to dance?" I asked, her smile softened. "I'd love to." We stepped onto the floor, swaying to a slow song. Her hand rested lightly on my shoulder, my hand at her waist. For a moment, the world dissolved. There was no wedding, no guests, no celebration. Only her presence, her quiet breath, the soft scent of jasmine in the air. "Thank you," she whispered, "for asking." "You didn't need much convincing," I said. She hesitated, then her voice dropped. "Can I tell you something? Anything." "I'm tired," she said, "of being the broken one." Her voice trembled slightly. "Everyone thinks they know me. The sister who can't commit, the woman who's always too independent, too unreachable. But it's exhausting to be seen that way." "You're not broken," I said firmly. She looked at me, eyes glistening. "Aren't I? Maybe everyone's right. You're just someone who hasn't been truly seen," I whispered, stepping closer. "Someone who deserves to be understood for who she really is, not the labels they give you." We stood there, silence stretching around us. The music, laughter, and ocean waves became a distant hum. The reception was alive with music, laughter, and the clinking of glasses. But for Amber and me, the world had shrunk to the space between us. I could feel the subtle tension in every glance, every brush of her hand as she passed by. When Tyler and Emma went on their rounds to thank guests, I found my opportunity. "May I have this dance?" I asked softly, my voice nearly drowned out by the music. Amber looked at me, a flicker of hesitation, then nodded. "I'd like that." We moved to the center of the dance floor, swaying together slowly. Her perfume was intoxicating, a soft, warm scent that made my chest tighten. I noticed the way her eyes searched mine, vulnerable and unguarded for the first time that evening. "I'm so tired," she whispered, "of pretending everything is fine." "Pretending for whom?" I asked. "For everyone," she said, her voice breaking slightly. "My family thinks I'm independent and carefree. Friends think I'm confident and untouchable, but it's exhausting to always put up a mask." "You don't have to pretend with me," I said. "Not tonight, not ever." Her hand slipped into mine, and I felt the subtle tremor of her fingers. We danced in silence, letting the music carry us, letting the night stretch endlessly around us. Eventually, we slipped out onto the terrace, where the ocean breeze tangled her hair. The moonlight painted silver highlights on her blonde strands, and the scent of the sea mixed with her perfume. "I shouldn't be saying this," she murmured. "It's your best friend's wedding. You should be celebrating." "I want to be here," I replied. "With you." For a long moment we stood silently, the world reduced to the sound of waves below. Then she looked at me, eyes shimmering. "Do you ever feel like life is passing you by?" "Every day," I admitted. "But right now, this feels like the only moment that truly exists." She took a step closer, hesitating, then said softly, "I shouldn't, but I want this, just tonight. I want to feel something real." I swallowed hard. "Amber, it's complicated." "Tyler, I know," she interrupted gently. "I know all of it, but just for tonight, can we be selfish? Can we forget the rules and feel something?" The world seemed to hold its breath. I stepped closer, our hands brushing, the heat between us undeniable. And in that instant, I realized we had already crossed an invisible line. Later that night, we found ourselves alone in her hotel room. The soft glow of the lamp highlighted her delicate features. Her dress had been loosened slightly, her hair cascading over her shoulders, and she looked both vulnerable and intoxicating. "We need to be clear," I said, my voice firm but gentle. "This can't go beyond tonight." "Tyler, I know," she whispered, "I know. But I can't stop thinking about you, Ethan. I've never felt seen like this, and it terrifies me." We crossed the line then, a mixture of longing, fear, and desire, a night that would change us both. It was intense, emotional, and passionate, yet tender in a way that made every previous relationship feel shallow. In the quiet aftermath, we lay side by side, tracing patterns on each other's skin, speaking in whispers, letting the weight of our emotions settle around us. The next morning, we returned to the wedding brunch, faces calm, smiles polite. Tyler noticed nothing, caught up in post-wedding excitement. Amber and I maintained a careful distance, pretending the night had been just another shared memory. But beneath the surface, our connection was electric, undeniable, and growing stronger by the hour. Over the following months, we navigated a delicate dance, text messages late at night, clandestine coffee meetings, long drives along the coast. Each encounter deepened our bond, our conversations peeling away layers of pretense, revealing vulnerabilities and desires we had both long hidden. Every laugh, every shared glance, every accidental touch built a tension that neither of us could resist. Amber began to open up about her past, failed relationships, heartbreaks, moments of regret, and fears of being alone. I shared my own doubts, my youth, my inexperience, my hesitations about entering a complicated love. But every revelation brought us closer, forging a connection deeper than anything I had ever experienced. There were moments of tension too. Amber's past briefly resurfaced when an old flame appeared in town, and jealousy flared unexpectedly. I struggled with guilt, desire, and the fear of losing her. But each challenge only made our bond stronger, teaching us to communicate, trust, and hold each other accountable. 3 months later, we finally told Tyler. The conversation was excruciating, filled with anger, disbelief, and hurt. He didn't speak to us for weeks, but slowly he began to understand. He saw the lightness in Amber's laughter, the genuine happiness radiating from her, and realized that our connection was real, profound, and worth accepting despite the unconventional circumstances. Now, 10 months later, Amber and I are building a life together, learning how to navigate a complicated love with patience, honesty, and devotion. She is no longer the woman hiding behind perfection. She is seen, understood, and cherished. Our love may be unconventional, our timing imperfect, but the moments we share, sunrise walks, shared coffee, quiet confessions, are a reminder that some connections are worth every risk. Tyler eventually came to accept our relationship fully. He joked about it occasionally, warning me to treat his sister with care, but it was clear he saw our love as something genuine. Amber smiles more freely now, her laughter unrestrained, her vulnerability embraced rather than hidden. Our journey hasn't been simple. It's filled with challenges, societal expectations, personal fears, and moments of doubt. But through it all, we've discovered something profound. Love doesn't always follow rules, timelines, or expectations. Sometimes it arrives in unexpected places, between the spaces of ordinary life, and demands that you risk everything to hold on to it. Amber is worth everything, and in those quiet moments, when the world fades away and it's just the two of us, I know that some people are worth breaking all the rules for, worth the risk, and worth every heartbeat that leads you to them.